in her 1970s TV show, or Robin from the 60s Batman TV show? There's no yelling at the stage. This is an intellectual fucking salon.
Sure enough it is.
From fucking Jersey.
It's an intellectual salon, and we don't encourage the yelling and the shouting and the...
Look at me, look at me, look at you.
Let me discourse for just a moment. I can't really give this question the full exposition which it deserves, because we have lots and lots of questions to answer, and I like to keep it short and snappy. Now that that is said, Wonder Woman was originally invented as a comic book by a child psychologist named William Moulton Marston, who observed that boys had Superman or Captain Marvel, which they did at that time before Superman destroyed Captain Marvel, Batman and other heroes, but what did girls have? This was his ostensible reason for creating Wonder Woman, the Atlantean princess. But other psychologists observed, how come this woman is always being tied up? Because in her comic book adventures, she was always having her wrists tied together, her ankles tied together. Sometimes they tied her ankles to her wrists. It was quite interesting. In the 1940s and the 1950s, the TV show only reflected this and other unlikely things. I mean, I never understood how Wonder Woman could stop bullets by catching them on her bracelets. Surely that would hurt, but she could, and that's because she's in the superhero business, not me. And of course, she also flew a transparent glass airplane, which has all sorts of technical difficulties involved with it, but must have paid off when she changed clothes inside the airplane. Now let's see, what else was I supposed to answer here? Oh, Robin. Well, Robin has to be tied up so he could be rescued by Batman. The cartoonist Jules Pfeiffer wrote a book called The Great Comic Book Heroes, where he tried to refute the claim of another child psychologist, Dr. Frederick Wertham, M.D., author of the book Seduction of the Innocent, who said that Batman and Robin lived in a homosexual paradise. They were always seen wearing bathrobes, and the relation between Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne was never really specified, except that Dick was Bruce's ward, and so on. Pfeiffer pointed out that if Robin was created for kids, the entire enterprise was misconceived, because kids don't want to be Robin, they want to be Batman. A feature of children is they want to be adults, unlike today's adults who want to be teenagers, children, or in some cases, babies. And as far as Batman is concerned, or rather Robin, he was the smart kid at school who had all the perks, and was a super athlete and a super good student, and got to hang out with Batman. In other words, a hateful person, and the more he was tied up, the better.
Oh my God.
But that doesn't mean he wasn't interested, does it?
We're closed for new questions. Not enough questions. We're going to be here until 10 o'clock in the morning.
I think not. Of course, if someone wanted to sponsor these questions with
Can you stop the
money,
tribbles?
well, then,
Just for a second.
you know, everyone has his tribbles. KroB is really interesting. These were the sea monsters encountered by the first brave explorers of the early ocean. The scolopendra, the centipede-like whale, the Fast-a-Toke, the spouting sea serpent, but supreme among them all was the titanic turtle, Fast-a-Toke-a-lon. And I will now speak briefly of this enormous turtle, who, according to medieval exegesis, represents Satan, who tempts humans and then destroys them. So here we go. That being in mind, the poem about Fast-a-Toke-a-lon. Look, there is Fast-a-Toke-a-lon, an island safe to land upon, although 'tis rather bare. Come, leave the sea and let us run, or dance, or lie down in the sun. See, gulls are sitting there, beware. Gulls do not sink. There they may sit or strut and prink, Their part it is to tip the wink, if anyone should dare upon that isle to settle, or only for a while to get relief from sickness or the wet, and maybe boil a kettle. Ah, foolish folk who land on him, and little fires proceed to trim, and hope, perhaps, for tea. It may be that his shell is thick. He seems asleep, but he is quick, and floats now in the sea with guile. And when he hears their tapping feet, or faintly feels the sudden heat, with smile he dives, and swiftly turning upside down, he tips them off, and deep they drown, and lose their silly lives to their surprise. Be wise, there are many monsters in the sea, but none so perilous as he, old horny Fast-a-Toke-a-lon, whose mighty kindred all have gone, the last of the great turtle fish. So if to save your life you wish, take this advice, pay heed to sailors' ancient lore, set foot on no uncharted shore, or better still, your days at peace on the green earth in mirth fulfill. All right. Now back to our regular show.
This is the last question in some reality. Here goes. What is the longest running show in San Francisco, and how many last shows will it have? What is the longest running show? What do you think about it? Well, there's no yelling at this stage in an intellectual salon. You're not in New Jersey anymore, honey. You've moved up. This isn't the bowling alley where your mom works.
Show in San Francisco.
The longest running show. Now, this is open to interpretation. I mean, a show can be anything. A show is anything you can see.
No. Yes, it would be. If we were going to do that, that would be some sort of sophistry. I think that might be beneath us. If, after all, such a generous emolument certainly requires a more genuine question. And of course, there have been shows running for a long time which in any other reasonable place would have been closed long ago. I have to point out that there's this show called Beach Blanket Babylon that's been running. And there's actually now a street that's been named after it. It's been around forever, and everyone's seen it. I've seen it. But as long as it is, it's not the longest running show in San Francisco.
What is the longest running show in San Francisco?
The Leap of the Desperate off the Golden Gate Bridge. Now, there are those meddlers in society who are trying to stop this useful winnowing of our population, and who have even planned to put ludicrous fences along or nets beneath the bridge to frustrate this all too human effort to deal with the intolerable. But, you know, the idea of suicide can be a comforting one. One doesn't need to suffer indignities forever. And even if they put these damn things, a fence along the bridge or a net under it, both of which would ruin its appearance, people would still find ways to off themselves. Because this action by the goo-goos, as they are known, the meddlers, the social engineers, would rightfully be seen as a challenge to human ingenuity. And as General George Patton said in a different context, fixed fortifications are monuments to the stupidity of man. If humans can overcome mountain ranges and continents, they can certainly overcome fortifications and a silly little net or fence attached to a formerly beautiful bridge.
A fur net?